For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a kind of a returning special guest. She's never officially been on the podcast, but if you've been following us for a while, back in 2020, we did a test trial of a radio show that we were doing, and she was a guest on that. So really excited to have her on the podcast proper and sit down and chat with her. She just released a new single. We have Auburn Mccormick. How's it going today, Auburn?
Hey, it's good. How are you?
Good. How are things going out there in Austin? Normally I'm in Texas, but like we were talking before we jumped on here, I'm out in Roswell, New Mexico, and I've seen temperatures in the 60s, and it's like not what I'm used to. As you could probably attest to, in Central Texas, it's been triple digits or bust for the last 2 months.
Yep, it is so hot here, but thankfully it started to cool down just a smidge because it's rained the past couple days, which is shocking.
Yeah, I've seen the that there's like a hurricane or something coming up this way, and that's interesting. So, but
we'll take the rain though; we need it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But really excited to sit down and chat with you. Since it's been a while, kind of take this opportunity to reintroduce yourself to everyone and kind of give them a breakdown of who you are and what you're about.
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Auburn Mccormick, like Tom already mentioned. And I was originally based out of Nashville, Tennessee. I went to school there for music, stuck around, did a lot of writing and recording and stuff. And then, COVID happened and everyone lost their jobs and all that stuff. And live music just wasn't a thing anymore. And I decided, let's try somewhere else. So eventually doors opened and things happened. And I decided to come to Austin, which is the live music capital of the world. A little bit different from Nashville.
Yep.
And here I am, still writing, still recording, but doing music out here, like show-wise. Yeah. And it's great. I love it.
Nice. And you're originally from Mississippi, right?
I am. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, but I was raised right outside of Tupelo, Mississippi.
Okay, cool. Because I remember you changed your social media handles on me at one point, because I remember it used to be like at University Spice, which is obviously a play off of Auburn and McCormick. Yeah. And I was sitting there this morning like, I need to put something out. What's our handles? I don't know what our handles are anymore. It's not University Spice. It's taken me to something else. I don't know what this is. So.
Yep, I changed it. I decided to change it when I wanted to make it easier for people to find me. Like, I'm the only Auburn McCormick in the world, thanks to my parents. So just type in Auburn McCormick and you'll find me. It just makes more sense. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make everything like kind of streamlined.
Yeah. Especially as you kind of start moving your music to the next direction. It's just better to make things easier to find. And, like the University Spice is cool. And it's memorable for me just because like I'd never seen anything like that. But like when people go to search you want it to be as easily searchable as possible. So. Yeah.
And I kept that in my bio, and it's still how I introduce myself sometimes so people remember. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you're down in Austin now. You've been there since the beginning of the year. How's Austin been treating you?
It's been really good. I was a little nervous about whether they would welcome me to Texas because I'm not a born and raised Texan, but they're so funny. I'm like, I moved here at the beginning of the year, and they're always like, welcome to Texas. You're a Texan now, like all that kinds of stuff. So they've been super welcoming here, and I've even like gotten myself some Tacovas and like, that's the Texan thing. And learned how to use the U-turn like lane thing. Like,
Yeah.
even is that? It's genius, but
Yeah.
we don't have those in Tennessee. So I was like, what the heck?
That's funny. I think as long as you're not coming from like California or something, you're fine. I think most
Mm,
people are good with it.
yeah.
Um, I haven't gotten myself cowboy boots yet. I've been in Waco for about 3 years now. It'll be 3 years in October. I haven't broke down and bought cowboy boots yet, but they keep telling me before I leave Texas,
Mhm.
I have to do three things: buy cowboy boots, buy a hat, and buy a revolver, or cowboy hat and buy a revolver. So it's just like, all right, I guess that's the Texas
Okay.
mission,
Yep, that's
Been
Texas.
yeah. But it's funny that you brought up that they were so welcoming, and it's like that's been my experience. And I think as long as you're not like a crazy person, they're pretty cool with you.
Yeah, I think so too. And they love to know that people choose to come to Texas.
Hmm.
And so they're like, yeah, come on in. We'd love to have you here. And they love country music here. So that's also helpful for me.
Yep,
Um, so it just worked out.
for sure, for sure. I just want to apologize to everyone if I seem a little exhausted. I've been on a little bit of a bender this week of music shows, and last night was a 12-hour music, or not last night, yesterday was a 12-hour music festival,
Ooh,
and there was a point there where it turned into a Texas, like an old school Texas dance hall, because they had like a red dirt country band that was playing,
yeah.
and then everybody just got up and started dancing, and I'm like, I live in Texas. I've never experienced this because I don't go to dance halls. That's not really my scene. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's so just kind of putting that out there for everyone. But I will cheer up here or energize up here in a minute as this monster starts to kick in. But so Auburn, it's been a little over, or it's probably been closer to 2 years since we've had you on last. Obviously, moving to Austin has been a big change, and you've been pretty consistently releasing music from what I could see on Spotify. What's the last 2 years been like leading up to the move to Austin?
Well, obviously, there was COVID. And so that was, I guess, earth rocking for
Yeah.
everyone. Um, so kind of for a while, I wasn't able to do music, wasn't even able to write or record or anything. It just kind of was just doing nothing and just
Mm,
waiting until things kind of started going back to normal. And eventually these things started opening up, and
mm,
I would do shows, but I would have to do shows behind a shower curtain so that there was like a barrier between me and the
yeah.
crowd. And like, that was super weird and something to get used to, but I was just thankful I was getting out there and doing shows again. And then people started feeling more comfortable meeting. And so I started writing and then got back into the studio. Everyone was wearing masks, but I didn't even care. I was like, we're just doing music.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of stuff recorded, which I am now finally releasing.
Nice.
I've got this and something else planned for the end of this year, and then everything else is going to come out in 2023. And
Nice.
I've got stuff lined up, so I'm super super pumped to finally be able to have music come out as quickly as I want it to. So that's kind of what I've been doing, just hiding out and just writing, recording, but now it's time to share with the world. So
Nice. But like even the last 2 years during your kind of hiatus, you were still. It seemed like even if it was just like a single, it because that's all you released last year, right? Was a single.
yeah, and I did a music video that went
Mm-hmm.
with it. So yeah, I was still trying to do as much as I
Mm-hmm.
could. Yeah.
Yeah, but just like I think even during the pandemic, just keeping yourself out there and relevant, even if it was just the one song or whatever,
Yeah.
that was enough to kind of keep your name out there and give something for the people to listen to. So.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously we talked about the pandemic in 2020, 2021 kind of being this very tumultuous time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
What was kind of the transition point moving to Austin? You kind of briefly mentioned that there was an opportunity, but
Yeah, I just met some people that I got the opportunity to come out and visit. I met them in Nashville, and then got the opportunity to come out and visit with them and hang with them. And they got to show me Austin.
Hmm.
And that was, I guess, a year ago, like
Hmm.
to this day almost. And I just fell in love with this city and these people here. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it just made me feel energized again and like back to my old self. Because I think COVID just, it took everyone's mental health took a
Yeah.
dip. And I was like, I feel free here. And I feel like maybe this is where I need to be. And doors just opened up with like just different
Hmm.
jobs or other jobs ending in Nashville. Like it just seemed right.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. I don't really ever do things like this. It was very out of my character. Um, but I was like, I'm just going to do it. So I packed everything up and right after Christmas, drove here with all my stuff. And now
Nice.
I'm a Texan.
Nice. That drive, I will say, having made that drive several times, at least not necessarily to Nashville, but like in between Memphis and Nashville, like when I go up to visit my family, that
Mhm.
like I usually cut between Memphis and Nashville. That drive is amazing. Like just coming through the east side of Texas and coming down through
Yeah.
Dallas and all that stuff. It's a really cool drive, and it's not a hard drive, so it's cool that you just kind of packed up and picked up and just kind of went and did your thing.
Yeah.
Um, so you landed here right before the new. You said after Christmas, so with that,
Yeah. I think
yeah,
I got here like New Year's Eve, I think.
okay,
So I got here and then like went out and went to like the party scene of
yeah,
like New Year's Eve and celebrated. And I was like, woohoo, I'm a
yeah,
Texan.
yeah. That's hey. I mean, I guess if you're gonna come in, that's the best time to do it.
Yeah.
So, um, no, I often tell people if I decide like I'm going to stay in Texas, I'd ultimately have to get down closer to Austin, whether
Mhm.
it's like maybe not necessarily living in Austin, but living within like maybe 45 minutes so I can get
Yeah.
there easier. Or if we're doing something with musicians, it's not like, oh, hey, you got to drive 2 hours, come up see me. But, you know,
Yeah. I mean, the great thing about Austin is there are a lot of great like suburbs of Austin and
hmm
they all have the music scene is great everywhere. Like
hmm
in Austin and like within an hour and 30 minutes outside of Austin, like the
yeah,
music scene is still great. I play shows that I have to drive close to 2 hours just to get to and it pays well. People love you out there. So I don't think it super matters if you live right in Austin.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I keep trying to get some of my friends' bands to come tour Austin. Like, I mean, some of the musicians from like Nashville that I've met, they'll come do like a little Texas loop, but it's not nearly enough musicians that are coming through. Like a lot of, because I know a lot of musicians that they make a great living just doing their 20 city loop around Texas, and they do
Mhm.
really well for themselves. So
Yeah,
just
I can see
trying,
that.
yeah. Um, so you've been in Austin now for about 9 months, give or
Yeah.
take a few days. I'm trying to see. Yep, the 21st. So we'll say about 9 months. Um, what's I know you just released a new single Friday, right? They dropped Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Secrets. What's the story behind this song?
Oh, this song. So it came from, I had a failed relationship, obviously, and I was with this guy for 2 years, and he got to know me really well, obviously. Like when you're in a relationship, you confide in that person, you tell them things that you probably haven't told anyone else. And
Mm,
that's what I did. And then it ended, and he kind of ghosted me. And it I got to thinking one day, I was like, there is a man out there who I used to love, who knows everything about me, and he's now just a stranger. Like,
mm,
what the heck? And I
yeah.
was like, I could turn that into a song. So then I went to my friend Hannah, who's another songwriter, and I was like, look, I have this idea. Will you help me like chase it and write it? She was like, duh. So we wrote it that day pretty quickly, actually. And as soon as we finished it, like we knew that this one was special and we were really proud of it. And so after that, I've just been singing it at shows. People always connect to it and love it. And so I got into the studio last year and started the process of recording it, getting it done, and now here we are. She's out.
Nice. Nice. Awesome. And so, did you record this in Nashville or was this recorded in
Yeah, I
Nashville?
do all of my recording in
Okay.
Nashville.
Okay.
I have my people there that I love to
Mm,
work with, and I haven't even found anywhere to even do it in Austin yet,
yeah.
even if I wanted to. But yeah, my people are so good in Nashville, and they're just so encouraging
Yeah.
and willing to work with like when I'm coming into town and
Mm,
stuff. So it just works out.
yeah. I have to imagine there's like a direct flight from Austin to Nashville. Like that would just be a can't miss opportunity for any airline out there.
Oh yeah, there is. And
Yeah.
even if I choose not to fly and just
Yeah.
drive, like you said, it's a super easy drive. Yeah, it's long, but I didn't have any issues driving it. So,
No. I mean, I made like it's not quite as long to go to or to drive to Memphis, but I made the Memphis trip in like a half. Well, I say half a day, but that's because I'm a psychopath and I leave at 2 a.m. just to get there at 10 a.m. or 11
yeah,
a.m., whatever it is. But
I'm not
you
doing
know,
that.
so um, so you'd mentioned that your original. We'll kind of circle back to the new single here in a second, but you'd mentioned that you were born in Memphis. How long did you stay there before you moved to Mississippi?
Not very long,
Okay.
but my dad was like raised there, so we have family there and all that stuff. He went to the University of Memphis. He was
Mm,
Pouncer, the mascot. My
yeah.
sister goes there, so we have a lot of connections to Memphis. So,
Yeah. I went to Memphis first time, and I went through Beale Street. I wasn't because usually I don't like doing those touristy things where I know I'm gonna have to
yeah,
pay like a whole buttload for parking and whatnot. But Beale
yeah.
Street wasn't bad. It was like I think I paid like $15 for like the night, and I was like, okay, that's like Chicago prices. That's not the worst.
Yeah.
And then we walked up and down Beale Street, and I was like, okay, I get Memphis. Memphis is cool. I get it. So,
Hmm.
but so have you ever given thought to was that ever an option to move back to Memphis, or is Memphis kind of not your?
Uh, Memphis isn't really, it's not really my thing. I don't think
Hmm.
I would fit there because
Hmm.
people don't want to hear country music as much there.
That's fair.
And so that's why I've never thought to go there. Though I am trying, I'm planning like a little like fall tour and
Yeah.
I will be coming through Memphis. So I'm going to give
Nice.
them a taste of some country music and they better like it.
I mean, on Beale Street, there is one place that I went to that played some country music, but
Yeah.
one place out of how many ever venues there are on Beale Street. That's yeah,
Mhm. It's not like Nashville where every single bar is playing country music.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You just got to kind of know your audience. And
Mhm.
Memphis, they're more blues. Well, I shouldn't say more blues, but they're primarily blues. And then
Yeah.
Austin. Obviously Austin and Texas are very open to country, but what's the scene like in Austin? Is it predominantly country, or are you starting to see more like other genres?
There are definitely other genres. I think they have a lot of rock
Okay.
here. Like I was shocked by that. So I think those are the two biggest genres that are
Hmm.
here. Just from what I've seen. Maybe I haven't seen something else and they play blues a lot or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
from what I've seen, it's a lot of rock and country.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, the country is kind of a can't miss in Texas.
Yeah.
Texas was built on country. So,
Mhm.
so circling back to Secrets, it's been out for Uh,
Couple days.
48 hours, about 48 hours or so. Yeah, I'm trying to do math this morning. It is not playing right for me. But what's kind of going through your mind now that this single is out? You've been working on it for a good amount of time. It's been a little bit since you've released some music. What's
Mhm.
kind of going through your mind right now?
What's going through my mind is I'm just trying to, my mind runs 100 miles an hour all the time. So now I'm thinking, like, what's next? How I can continue to push this song and continue to get more people to hear it. How I can, do things on TikTok or Instagram Reels. When I want to release my next single, I know it's going to be in the fall, but like, what exact date? What kind of way am I going to market this song? Like, literally a million things. But I think the biggest thing on my plate right now is how to get secrets, like to have a
Okay.
further reach, to reach
Yep.
more people. Because I know it's a song people can connect to.
Yep.
Everyone has an ex out there that knows everything about them, and it terrifies them to know that.
Yep. Yep. I 100% agree. That's um as so kind of leading up to the release of Secrets, had you done anything different to promote it?
Yes. Okay. So I tried. I am, as my sisters would say, old. I'm closer to 30 than anything else. And
If you're
I
old,
mean,
what am I? Jeez.
I guess, well, old, older, and then eventually they call people ancient. So
Oh
I don't
no.
know.
Well, to be fair, I'm only 35, so yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You're just old then,
Okay.
like me. Well, I tried because I didn't grow up on TikTok or even
Hmm.
Instagram. So learning those things is a little bit more of a challenge for my generation. And so I tried to do TikToks. I've tried to do the Instagram reels. I've pushed it at every single show that I have. Like, I've done things that I didn't do with other singles. I've tried to get pre-saves,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. Like, I did everything I could possibly think of. Was
Nice.
I good at it yet? Absolutely not. Will I
Yeah.
get better because I'm doing it? Yes.
Nice. It's all that stuff is so confusing what works on there and what like I did so I've been like I mentioned earlier, I've been in New Mexico for the last week because I
Hmm.
had a whole bunch of PTO time to kill at work. And so it's like, you know what? Instead of having 27 days off at the end of the year, maybe I should spread this out a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to go visit my friends in New Mexico. And I was at my buddy's band practice, and I was like, took out my phone and I turned it over to the slow mo thing, and I just watched my buddy drum. And I just took a slow mo video of him drumming. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but we'll see. And then that night, I was just messing around with Instagram Reels, and I put it on there, and you could just like hear every individual drum hit. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I put it up on Instagram Reels, and it got like 100 times more views than anything else I had ever put up there. And I'm like, I don't know why this worked and nothing else
I know,
did.
right? Like, I can
But
put the same thing on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram Reels, and one, nothing happens. The other
yeah,
one, and then the other one, like, gets a bunch of views. And I'm like,
yeah,
what is that? What? I don't understand.
yeah. It's it's interesting. I don't get it, but you know what? I'm if I put one up on Instagram, I automatically put it up on TikTok just because
Yep.
it it kind of has to at this point. So,
Hmm.
but
It's kind of
um,
crap, though, that we have to do that just so people pay attention to what we create. Like,
yeah,
I mean, 10 years ago, that wasn't a thing. People didn't have
mm,
to be content creators. They just got to create their art and do what they loved. And
yeah,
so now we have to create our art and we have to be content creators. We have to stay relevant all the time. Like, that sucks. And
yeah.
it's so much pressure. And I hate it. And I wish it wasn't a thing, but it is.
It yeah it like I mean for it is tough like because like live and amplified as a entity has to deal with all of that. Like we not only do we have to be our own content creators, but we also have to essentially be content creators for the musicians that we bring in, because it's like, oh, we gotta, figure out a way to promote each and individual podcast. So it's like we're promoting our own stuff, we're promoting the musicians, and it's just like, I remember when the podcast was just enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all we needed. But now it's like, oh no, you got to pull out a snippet, you got to find the soundbite, you got to find the shocking thing,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I really don't want to do that, because we're not like shocking news people. So,
Yeah,
but,
I get it.
so for secrets, were you kind of landing on like music videos nowadays? Is that something you're looking at for secrets, or is it already out and I just kind of missed it?
No, it's something I've thought about. It's not something I have planned because
Mm,
you can do music videos. You don't want to put them out like right after you put your single out. You want your single to like
mm,
rest for a little bit and then you put your music video out to kind of
yep.
get people back into it. So it
Mm,
would be a couple months from now, anyways, if I was going to put it out. I have
mm.
thought about it though. So no promises that it won't happen, but no promises that it will happen. We'll just have to see.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And like, if you're gonna shoot one right now, is probably the best time to do it, because it's starting to cool down in Texas. And if you're gonna be outside,
Yeah.
yeah, I,
Yeah.
I, I got you.
Or I just go to Nashville where it's cooler and I just film it there.
This is very true. Very, very true. So you'd mentioned kind of trying to figure out what's next. What is the next step for you? Are you looking at next singles? Like, what's kind of the next rest of the year? Let's just say the rest of the year looking like
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. The first thing that's going to happen is I'm planning my first tour ever,
Mm,
which is exciting. I have literally no idea what I'm doing, but that's what happens when you're an independent artist and you don't have a team. You just
mm-hmm,
figure it out as you go. So I am planning in a little like acoustic tour, where I'm just going to travel around, probably like Mississippi, Alabama,
mm,
Tennessee, maybe
yeah,
North South Carolina and Texas,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and just places where I like know people, basically. Um, and so that is going to be happening, which I'm super, super excited about. And then in regards to new music, there will be a single coming out. It's not necessarily new, but it is new. I don't want to give it away, but like I'm really excited about this
Yes.
one. It's beautiful. It has strings on it. It has a cello, which is
Mm,
my favorite instrument, and it's just produced how I originally heard it in my brain when I wrote it. So I'm really,
yes.
really excited about
Yes. I like that little verbal dance you did there. Did not let out too much information.
that. I'm
That
trying not to, but I want to tell everyone, but I'm trying to hold it back.
I feel that. I completely understand. That's cool though. Kind of as you're preparing for these next releases, are you, or what, how did you kind of go through the selection process of what songs to release? What, like, obviously not letting any specifics out, but do you build knowing that you're going towards an album, or is it just kind of like, oh, this song would be good this time, and then just kind of see where things land at the end of the day?
Yeah, I don't have any intentions of doing an album just because of the way the world, um, just
Mm-hmm.
albums don't do well unless you're a somebody,
Or
like Carrie Underwood
touring,
or Adele or something. You can
or
get away.
touring nonstop. That's yeah.
Yeah, like they just want quick. Um, I don't know, like I don't know how to explain it. They
Mm-hmm.
just want music all the time, but they don't want a bunch of it all at once. So I'm like, okay,
Yep.
we're just gonna stick to singles. So that's what I'm doing. The way that I choose which single I want to record is just kind of based off of live shows and showing the songs to people and kind of getting a feel like, do they like this song? Do they relate to this song? Okay, this one they really, really like. So I need to do this one. Um, and then once I record it and get the vibe of the song, then I'll decide this is definitely a summer song or
Yeah.
spring or fall. This is where it needs to sit. And then it's just building like the marketing campaign like
Mm.
around it. So yeah, there are some songs that I know specifically they need to come out on like certain dates because a
Mhm.
date has um it's just very specific to the song. And then other ones I'm like, well, this just needs to go out sometime in the summer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I completely get that. And then as far as like when you're sitting down to write, like where are you kind of at writing? Are you always writing, or do you kind of find yourself in spells of writing music?
Yeah, it's definitely an up and down kind of thing. I think it's that way for, all creatives. We
Mm,
have times where it just flows out of us, and then other times where we're just stumped, like we don't have anything. And, I just got back from Nashville
mm,
and I wrote and wrote and recorded and recorded. And so there was a lot of creativeness like flowing out during that
mm,
time. And now it's like, okay, now I can take a break a little bit. But then I'm going to go right back into creative mode in like in a month when I head back to Nashville. So it's just kind of an ebb and flow. I don't think I'm a constant writer, but maybe
mm,
one day I'll get there. I
yeah,
think it's just building up that muscle and just writing as much as I can. And then I think one day, yeah, I could probably write every day, but we'll
yeah.
see.
I feel that, and I think it's just if like depending on how you write, if you're drawing more from life experiences,
Mhm.
or obviously certain things are going to hit you at certain times, and
Yeah.
even if you aren't always constantly writing, just kind of taking notes of little things that hit you and knowing how to kind of, okay, let me put that in my voice memo so when I do have time or I find myself in the right headspace to sit down and write, I can come back to this moment and you know
Yeah.
recreate it or write to it, or like however you want to
Hmm.
do it.
Yeah, I
So
think all songwriters probably, or at least the ones I know, have
yeah.
a notes like thing in their phone that is like
Mm.
pages long of just
Oh
ideas that they've had. And yeah, I have the same thing. If I can be driving in the car tonight and I could get one and I'll like write it down or sing it into my phone or
yep,
whatever.
yep,
And then I'll come back to it and write a song. I do that all the time.
yeah. I the other day I was trying to clear out space on my phone, and I went to like where it broke down where all my data was being used,
Yeah.
and it said on my notes app that I had like 2.5 gigs worth of data, and I'm like, well, I guess I do write a lot. Like, because, in the same
Yeah.
vein of a songwriter, it's like, oh, an idea hits, and then I'll be like driving to work, and it's like, wait a minute, that's a good idea for a show or a podcast or a bit on the, whatever. Let me write this down really quick.
Yeah.
And then, so it's always, and then I'm also writing like letters and stuff in there, just like trying to, when I'm like reaching out to people to support the podcast, or sending out group emails or whatever, it's just kind of like, oh, let me write this here so I can kind of structure it and make it make sense. So
Hmm. Yeah.
but so since you've been in Austin, what's something that, like, outside of music, what do you do to kind of escape? What's some of your new hobbies now that you're a full-blown Texan?
Yeah. Um, Hmm. Let me think. There's a lot of like trails, like whether
Mm,
it's a walking trail or like actual hiking and like swimming holes and stuff here. And I just love nature. So I love to go
mm,
and explore those. And I'll take my dog and we'll go walking and I'll let her go swimming and all that stuff. Um, so there's that. So I actually live in like a suburb
mm,
of Austin, and this little town has a really cute square, and they have like tons of like live music and
mm,
festivals and events and that kinds of stuff. So I love going to those things. It reminds me of
nice.
Franklin,
Yeah.
right outside of Nashville.
Yep.
um and then there's a shopping center called the Domain, and I just love going there and walking around. And whether I buy anything or not, I just like going and window shopping and stuff like that. So that's fun too.
Nice. That's cool. It's I often tell myself, like, so when I go to when I obviously I've not been to like Austin proper, but I go to Georgetown a lot, which I think is maybe
It
northeast
is. It's north.
Austin. Yeah.
Yes.
I go to Georgetown quite a bit, and Georgetown is cool. They've got a nice little scene, but
Mhm.
just like I said earlier, if I stay in Texas, I'm gonna have to get closer to Austin to some degree. So,
Yeah, you could always do like the Cedar Park area. A lot of people
hmm
live there, and it's
yeah,
pretty close.
for sure. And so then, obvi- uh, as far as like music goes, what's your show schedule looking like now that you're down in Texas? Are you find yourself playing out more, playing out less?
Yeah, I would say I play out more here, and it's not, writers' rounds. They don't really have those here.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like a full blown like 3 hour set, which is really nice because then you're in front of these people for more than 15 minutes.
hmm
They get to know you a little bit more. Um, they pay you. um, so I find myself enjoying it, and but since I am getting paid, like I don't have to do um like 3 shows a week or whatever. Like I can
hmm
kind of just take my time, and I get to spend that much time in front of the audience that I enjoy it better than Nashville, which sounds kind of bad, but I would rather have an audience that sticks around and gets to hear me and gets to really know who I am
hmm
rather than listening to me sing 3 originals and then that's it, and then leaving. Like
Yeah.
that, they don't get to know me. So I really enjoyed the shows and the music scene here, and kind of that's what I've been doing is just bebopping around, just playing shows wherever I can.
Nice. That's awesome. That's really cool. Um, so I don't want to keep you too much longer here since it is Sunday morning. It's a little earlier for me than it is you, but
Yeah.
that's okay. Since you've been on last, we have adopted a fun little game.
Okay.
Um, it started off as kind of a, oh crap, we ran out of things to talk to and we've been here for only like 25 minutes. Let me see what I can do. To now it is a fun little highlight that a lot of people seem to enjoy. It is
Okay.
called rapid fire randomness. And what it is I have a random question generator sitting in front of me. Actually,
Okay.
I can now show it. Let me. So I have a random question generator that just generates random questions. I'm going to fire off 10 of them at you, and you're just going to answer them as quickly as the question allows, because some of these questions get a little deep from time to time. So,
Oh, okay.
so if you're ready, we have rapid fire randomness.
All right.
All
Let's do
right.
this.
How long is the longest trip you've ever taken?
Probably the one to Austin, which
Okay.
was 12 hours.
Are you more of a saver or a spender?
Saver.
Okay. Would you rather eat the same thing every day or wear the same thing every day?
Eat the same thing every day.
I, in the back of my head, I was like, I kind of already eat the same thing every day, so
Also, I'm a girl, so I love to change up my outfits. So
that's
eat the
fair.
same thing.
That's. What was the most terrifying animal encounter you've ever experienced?
Oh Lord, I don't have one. I love animals. They don't scare me.
Okay.
Maybe a snake.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Fair
like
enough.
snakes. So
I was gonna say you've never been running down one of those trails, and
I mean,
I
okay, yeah, that's fair. I don't really like snakes, but I just avoid them. So I try not to have encounters with them.
okay. Would you rather have pepperoni pizza with a Coke or a cheese pizza with a Pepsi?
Okay, I don't like any of those things.
Okay.
So no. I
None.
don't like pizza and I don't like soft drinks.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. How late did you stay up last night? Stay up till last night.
Oh, I only think it was like 10:30. Not that late.
Nice. I wish I went to bed at 10:30, but it is what it is. What's more important, safety or freedom?
Ooh. Mmm. Freedom.
The government is erased, law is abolished, and you are named the supreme leader of the world. What is your first mandate?
Oh, dear Lord. I don't know. Trying, honestly, my first mandate. Water is free. I think it's
Cool.
dumb that we have to pay for water, and there are so many
Yes,
people out there who need it. So,
fair
yeah.
enough. I 100% get that. Um, you're given $100,000 that you have to spend today, what are you buying?
A new car. 100%.
Nice. How many languages do you speak?
One. I
And
wish
if you,
I spoke more, but I only speak one.
okay, there's a follow-up question to that one. What language would you like to learn?
Spanish. I find it so, I don't know. Either that or Italian. I just think they're beautiful languages.
For sure. Do you prefer snail mail or a phone call?
Ooh, it depends on the situation. Like, like I love snail mail with like if it's a long distance relationship or something, but I still want phone calls. Like if I need something quick, phone call or text.
If you had to ask your best friend for a recommendation for a new job, what would they say about you?
Oh, they'd probably say that I'm very passionate and determined and have the ability to make anyone feel like I am fully invested in them.
Nice. And then to end it all, what is a useless hidden talent that you possess?
Oh, Lord. I don't have a hidden talent. I feel like my talent is out there for the world to see. Uh, can't do the tongue thing, that little roll. I
Yeah.
can't do that. Can't bend my extremities in any weirdness. Yeah, I think I'm just boring.
Okay, fair enough. All right, since you kind of passed on that question, you get this next one.
Okay.
I was going to end it on the last one, but this one is just kind of funny. If you had to marry one of your friends, who would it be?
Ooh, marry one of my friends.
Hey, if
Ooh.
you'd have answered the last question, we wouldn't be at this point. So,
Let me think. Honestly, it's I I'm just gonna say it doesn't matter if they're male or female. I'm just going off of like who they are as a
mm,
person. I would probably marry my co-writer on Secrets, Hannah. She is precious. She's such an encourager. She's the best cheerleader.
nice.
She always knows how to lift people up and she just loves wholeheartedly. So I'd marry her.
Awesome. Awesome. That's perfect. But uh, it's been an absolute blast chatting with you. And, it's strange because I always try and keep things fresh. But when we get to bring back musicians, it's always a blast to kind of reconnect and catch up.
Yeah.
For anybody that wants to check out your music, any of that fun stuff, interact with you on socials, where can they find all your information?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this earlier. It's super simple. Just Auburn McCormick because there's only one of
Yeah.
me. So, yeah, just look up Auburn McCormick on anything. I'll be the first one.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, really appreciate you jumping on. And then before we wrap this up, what's one piece of advice you have for the young musicians out there?
Oh, I would say don't let social media diminish your craft just because either people don't see it and don't respond to it or whatever. Don't take that as your craft isn't good. And also don't put out crap just to get the attention of people. Like, just stick to who you are, and people will fall in love with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, once again, thank you, Auburn, so much for hanging out with us. It's been an absolute blast. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, beginning of next year, sometime we'll get you back on, and it'll be less than 2 years the next time we have you on. So,
Perfect. Thank you
but
so much for having me.
absolutely, absolutely. Once again, thank you all for hanging out. We will be on and off stream all day because, as I said, I'm in New Mexico, and this is the first full day that I'll have with the team. So we're going to have some podcasts, live reacts, all that fun stuff. So if you're hanging out today, just chilling at the house, make sure you come in and check on us every once in a while. We'll be here pretty much all day. But once again, Auburn, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's been a blast, and we will see you all later.
Yeah. Bye.
All right.